to license it.
Meep, meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1 to 55 scale Majorette Alfa Romeo Giulietta. It's made in France, and it's number 271 in the series. This one looks like it might be from the early 80s, a Type 116. It's got a plastic base and an unusual paint scheme with the cream base and the red body, and a black stripe under the doors. I'm going to try to bring this one back to the cool that it should have. And I'll do the drilling out and the disassembly and all of those other duties that I normally include in my video, so you can see step by step how it's done. Majorette is a French toy manufacturer which mostly produces die-cast cars and other construction and military vehicles, particularly in 1 to 64 scale. Early on, the company soon became the largest French toy car manufacturer and has sometimes been called the Matchbox Toys of France. Traditionally, production was centered in the urban area of Lyon, but models are now made in Thailand. At the end of 1980, Majorette purchased die-cast maker Solido, and at about the same time, the Portuguese company Novacar was also purchased, and Majorette production commenced in Portugal. Besides their important domestic presence, Majorette relies heavily on commercial sales to foreign markets. I live in the city of Basel, Switzerland, and I'm right on the border to France, across the Rhine River, and Germany as well. So Majorettes are pretty easy to come by over here where I live. I'm not so sure how popular or well marketed they are in the States or in the UK anymore. You see, this one is coming apart fine, and it just needs the basic cleanup. And because there are some extra bits involved in this build, I have made it my practice to put everything into a plastic bin right here, or things will go missing, especially if it's on the bench for a week or so. Though realism and detail were not always as good in the Majorette cars as Matchbox or Tomica, by the early 70s, Majorette established a reputation for making quality, heavy vehicles. They incorporated features like opening doors and hoods, translucent plastic parts, and spring suspension systems. Majorette has now moved down market with plastic bases and less expensive tampo printing for headlights instead of the clear plastic pieces like I have here today. The Giulietta was not in the stripper for too long, not even overnight, and you can see that the Majorette paint is sliding right off. I get goggled up before I turn on any power tools, and I'm going to apply the wire wheel attachment from my Dremel to the bare metal. You're going to notice a very interesting stippled surface on this car. Almost looks like it's supposed to be a vinyl roof, but it covers the hood and the trunk and the sides and the doors as well. Quite unique. So look for that after the final paint job and clear coat. It's not going to totally go away. But I guess that's what Majorette was after on this model. Last step before the paint booth color application is some degreasing and a coat of primer. In this case it's just light gray, and I've taken the doors off for the paint job. Sometimes I leave them on. And while I wait for the primer to dry under my homemade UV light box, I give all the plastic bits a good brushing up. And I'm using Vallejo yellow paint. I put a little flow improver in there and a little bit of thinner so it'll shoot out of the airbrush gun beautifully. You will see me just apply the tack coat here in short, misty bursts, so it doesn't go on too heavy and run, and I give attention for a consistent overall coverage and underneath, especially the wheel wells and even these bits that you won't see. The Giulietta Type 116 is a small executive saloon car manufactured by Italian car maker Alfa Romeo from 77 to 85. The car was introduced in November 1977, and while it took its name from the original Giulietta of 1954 to 1965 run, it was a new design based on the Alfa Romeo Alfetta chassis, including its rear-mounted transaxle. Giulietta went through a couple of facelifts, first in 81 and the second one in 83, and all of them used a 5-speed manual transmission. Originally 2 models were available, the 1.3 with a 95 horsepower engine and the 1.6 with a 109 horsepower engine. Both had the Alfa Romeo twin-cam inline 4s fed by 2 twin-choke carburetors. All goes back together just beautifully. Doors are functional, and even though it's been set up for a while, I'm not going to play with those doors too much so they don't stick shut. The posts were too small to drill originally during the strip down, so this one got glued back together and some fake screw heads put in there just for cosmetic effect. There's no doubt the Giulietta is a very cool car, but in its original condition, when I began, it just wasn't grabbing me. Do you like the color change? I did some masking and painting of the black side stripes and the hood stripes as well. It got a wheel swap, which I think looks really good. Detailed the interior with some yellow piping to match the bodywork, and I'm pleased with how that came out. It goes into a blister pack, and this will go to the Goodwill store as a gift for a young boy or girl. I hope they'll have fun with it, and I hope you enjoyed watching. If so, give this video a thumbs up, won't you? And come on back real soon and often. It's coffee time.